Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the Season Change podcast. I'm your host, Cam.
And I'm your co-host T-Mac.
And we're here with the lovely, lovely staff of Nation Outside.
Nation Outside Top Brass, the OGs.
Yup, our executive and deputy director, Cecilia Vega, and Mr. Richard Speck. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well. Happy to be here.
I'm doing good. I love coming on the podcast.
Yeah, we love having y'all here. So first, let the viewers know a little bit about Nation Outside, just organizationally, kind of what we do, why we feel like we're the dopest organization in Michigan right now, nonprofit in Michigan. Mr. Rick Speck.
Sure. We have a 10-year history here in the state of Michigan, and a lot of people don't know how we were founded or who we were founded by, and we were founded by all formerly incarcerated individuals. Ronald Simpson Bay was one of the original co-founders, and Monica Johnner, who are previous board members who have since moved on. But they were sitting down, and there wasn't a group out there that advocated for us that was us. Right? There are groups out there, and they do great work, and they advocate for the rights of folks that are incarcerated, people coming out of incarceration. But at that time, none of these groups were actually those people. So that was the initial concept behind Nation Outside. And so we started as a policy organization, working on policies, as well as any kind of administrative rules that could improve the quality of life that men and women and children, honestly, face in incarceration. And then as over time and as the organization is matriculated, we came into what is now TIPLR, Trauma-Informed Peer-Led Reentry, a few years ago. And again, many organizations out there helping folks come home. But outside of the one that Cam and I co-founded years ago, there wasn't an organization that was servicing folks coming home that had walked that walk. So, I was a proud supporter and then eventually a board member for Nation Outside. And, I struggled with boundaries and limits, and I wanted to help and be more involved when I was on the board than I probably should. So, I resigned from the board and stepped back so that I could get further involved with Nation Outside. And then, lucky for me, an opportunity came. I applied, and here we are almost a year later, still doing the work and living by the mission that was set before us by our founders.
Yeah, so I like to kind of continue to try to set the table of like what doing the work looks like. Also, what have some of our wins been? I know there's been many wins. The statewide organization led by system impacted people, uplifting the voice of the formerly incarcerated. And I know we're gonna promote our Seeds of Change gala coming up, but I want the people that's listening to us to understand kind of what does the work look like and what have some of our wins been, especially specifically pertaining to TIPLR.
Gosh, this is an area where I feel like we struggle because we have so many wins and we do so much great work that we just don't brag about it, or we're just so busy doing the work that we don't really take the time to sit back and reflect on what those wins have been. So I think the biggest win for Nation Outside is that this is an organization founded by and for people coming out of incarceration. The whole organization, our employees, are all formerly incarcerated or directly impacted by the criminal legal system. And
That's a win in itself.
yes. And so for an organization to have a team that's all formerly incarcerated, also win a huge, I don't want to say we won a contract. We were written into the state budget at $3 million. The first year was $2 million. The second year was $1 million. And we recognize, to be entrusted with with public dollars to that amount spoke volumes about how people believed in us and our mission and what we could do. And that money went from the state and it flowed through the Department of Corrections. So we had to work with the Department of Corrections. We were contracted by them. And that was a huge win by itself for an organization of all formerly incarcerated people to be embedded in the Michigan Department of Corrections and to be working inside the department. It wasn't something that we wanted, and I don't think it was something they wanted either. We were pushed together, but it allowed us a seat at the table where we were no longer the incarcerated people that were housed in their facilities, but we're now peers and partners delivering services to folks coming out. And we were able to advocate and bring the concerns of the people that we serve, our peers, to the tables that we were never at. They were discussing our incarceration and programming for us and reentry systems, but those conversations within the Department of Corrections never included formerly incarcerated people until we arrived on the scene. And so that's one of our proudest moments, and we continue to make sure that we advocate at those highest levels so that when decisions are being made about what type of programming services are going to be offered for people coming out of incarceration, we can say, hey, we need this, or, we don't need that. And that's huge for us. So that's one thing I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could add something, though, I think if I was to look back and say, what am I most proud of as far as what we accomplished as an org, I would say take a look at all of our staff and take a look at those wins and look at those accomplishments. You just graduated U of M. Cam's about to become a father again. Cam's an entrepreneur. You look at so many of our staff that are entrepreneurs, that are fathers, that are mothers and aunties and all these wonderful things that are given to the community, a part of their churches, mosques, whatever the case may be. To me, when I look at what is the proudest accomplishment of this organization, it's the people that are a part of this organization. Those wins, you can't quantify that with data all the time, but you can see it in the smiles and you can see it in the quality of life of our people, right? So that, I think, to me is probably one of the greatest wins, is knowing that we've helped contribute to the lives of people from our community, and they in turn have contributed to this organization through blood, sweat, and tears. So I just want to lift that up and appreciate that.
I agree. And while we were fully funded, we employed over 30 formerly incarcerated people.
Yeah, for sure. And I know personally, being one of those individuals, first of all, thank y'all. I love getting checks from Nation Outside. It's really important in my life. I love being able to take my health care benefits and really be seen as a value to my community. Couldn't do it without the support. And I'll just, add my 2 cents, is that the diversity of our staff, right?
Yes.
Everything, for sure, we represent Black and brown communities, but not limited to just Black and brown communities. We also, as far as the amount of time we've served and what we cover, from county jail to state prison to federal prison, juvenile lifers, long indeterminate sentences, everything in between, really, really modeling the way for second chance employment, but also the service through Tipler that we were able to do with our peers all across the state. Mm-hmm. For me personally, nothing makes me feel as good as bumping into somebody who we've partnered with, whether that's through rides home from incarceration or helping somebody with digital literacy, and seeing and speaking to those people and their family members, right? So being able to rock a Nation Outside hoodie or T-shirt and having somebody mom come up to me, hey, I know you all helped my son out. And those are the stories and the things that I know that keep me motivated. But to Cecilia's point, we were in the state budget Recently, unfortunately, those funds uh, were detracted because of all of the things that's going on in our world today. Makes Seeds of Change and the benefit that we have annually even more important. So let's get into our Seeds of Change benefit that's coming up. Tell us about the Seeds of Change benefit. What year is this of the Seeds of Change benefit? Is it when is it, and what is it for?
So this is our third year with Seeds of Change, our annual benefit dinner. And this is an opportunity for the community and folks that are not connected to Nation Outside to come in and learn about the work that we do and the impact that we make in our community. It's really important. It's our biggest annual fundraiser. It's an opportunity for folks to come in, eat with us, learn about the organization, and have some fun while doing it. And we call it the Seeds of Change because that's how we view ourselves. We understand that there's a lot of stigma attached to having a felony conviction or any conviction, being formerly incarcerated or having been directly impacted by the criminal legal system. We see ourselves as changing that narrative of who you see when you think of how they call us criminals or felons or all the labels that they put on us. And we hope to change that. And so we are all little seeds of change. And that is what our benefit represents. And what we named our podcast, because also we're about changing the narrative and helping remove that stigma.
So a little birdie told me our girl Sharon from WJLB and Mix 92.3 is going to be the host this year. Last year, unfortunately, I missed it. I think Rick had some hip-hop DJ going on or something like that. Rick, tell us a little bit more about what's going on in Seeds of Change this year. I think it's September 25th.
Yep.
That's a Friday, right?
Yep,
Around
yep.
5?
Yep, so it's Friday, September 25th. Doors open at 5. The program will begin at 6. We'll go to about 9 o'clock. We're going to be at Taqueria El Rey down on Bagley in southwest Detroit. It's our first year there. Wanted to get back into the community. You know, we want to be able to stand with the Latino community here that is facing so many challenges when it comes to immigration, which we know leads to incarceration. And so we want to be here to stand united with our brothers and sisters in this struggle. So yeah, it's going to be a great night. You know, I think the last couple years I emceed, so I'm super excited to have Sharon from WJLB here, and I can just kind of enjoy it for the evening.
We'll find something for you to do, Rick.
However, you know, 2 years ago we had a jazz band, which was great, and last year we had trap music, right? We had DJs, we had Reyes and Damasio on the ones and twos, so we mixed it up that way. And we'll see what the music's going to be this year. You know, come check it out. It'll be a great surprise for you all. The silent auction has been huge hit.
Talk a little bit more about the silent auction.
Well, there's a lot of things, like you can get sports memorabilia, there's tickets to events, there's wine tasting things. My painting company typically does some painting services. Last year, Chuck from my semi won $750 in painting services, for example. Right? I think for that $750, I think he bid like a couple $100. So great, you know, deal for him, great deal for us. And the silent auction is really cool to watch because everybody's getting up there at the last minute, and just a great time, and it helps to support doing this work and being able to serve our communities.
So I have a question. If anybody want to donate to the silent auction, what is the process of how they can do that?
Or donate, period.
Yeah, donate, period.
So for donations of cash, or you want to donate on your card or write a check, you can go to our website and there's a donation link and you can follow that. But if you want to donate goods or service, there's an email on our website that you can that you can check on, and it'll email directly to us, and you can let us know what you're thinking, what you'd like to donate, and one of the staff will call you back.
And just for clarity, that website is nationoutside.org.
Yes, nationoutside.org.
Okay, perfect. So as we were talking about the seas of change, I just want to touch on the ticket sales. How much are the tickets? Where can we go to purchase tickets? And stuff like that.
So tickets are typically $50 each. You can find the link on our website, and we'll have it linked on Facebook on our Facebook event. That $50 includes dinner, 2 drinks, and free parking. So that's it's going to be Mexican food, taco bar, and entertainment. This year, we're going to premiere What Grace Leaves Behind, a film that I wrote, produced, and directed.
Okay.
Co-produced and co-directed.
So we get dinner and a movie.
Dinner and a film.
Dinner and a movie. What else can you
Yes,
ask for?
yes.
And music.
And music. And we also give awards out. We give 2 Changemaker Awards, one to an individual who has championed social justice, in particular criminal legal reform justice, and an organization that has partnered and been a good partner to Nation Outside and to people coming home from incarceration. So, Rick, do you want to talk about who our partner organization is this year?
Yeah. So our partner organization, I'm happy to say, is Prosper Us, and Prosper Us is a incubator, right? That I think probably at least a half a dozen of our staff have came through and how to incubate. Yeah, I think there was 7 at the graduation that I attended. And it's an incubator for entrepreneurs to grow and scale their businesses and also connect with other businesses. And they do just a tremendous amount of work with folks and providing resources. And, once you graduate, they don't like, hey, good to see you, we got something else going, right? No, they're always there for folks. They make time. They've been great partners with us, and we're just happy and excited to lift up the work they do and what great community partners they've been to Nation Outside.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's the other awardee, Changemaker?
The other Changemaker is Representative McKinney.
What up, though?
Yes, he's from Detroit, and he has been a champion in Lansing for social justice issues, in particular issues that are important to people coming home from incarceration, and people who are still currently incarcerated. So he is somebody who is a believer in criminal justice reform and is a good partner to us in our community in that regard.
So we haven't talked about the special award we do. I just want you to give a little backstory on that before you tell me.
So last year we added a new award category. It's the Everett C. Lightkeeper Award. Mr. Everett was a peer navigator with Nation Outside. He's a former city council member of Pontiac and also formerly incarcerated person. And he was just dedicated to serving people coming home from incarceration. He did not need to work. He worked because he loved the work and what he did. And he unfortunately passed away last year, in the middle of the year. And it was devastating to the staff, to the organization, to the community. And he was somebody that was always smiling and always brought this inner bright light wherever he went. There was no darkness around him. There was always light. And so we created an award, the Lightkeeper Award, and this is given to a peer, somebody who's also formerly incarcerated, that is using their life to improve others in service of others. And so this year we're presenting the award to a former peer who was our client, and then she became a peer navigator at Nation Outside. So she went through the program and then became staff, Delinia. Yep, Delinia Howell. And we're excited to honor her this year at the event.
Yeah, just hearing Mr. C's name puts a smile on my face, and thinking about Delinia receiving that award, I think she's a perfect person because she definitely embodies that same brightness and boldness Mr. C did. So I think that was a good choice.
So we're getting ready to wrap up and we're thinking about the seeds of change, what is the biggest call of action we can give the community out there?
I would say one thing we haven't touched about so far in this conversation is sponsorships.
Pull them checkbooks
Right?
out.
Yes. You know, they say money makes the world go around, and they're not lying, right? No, we're looking for sponsors, and it's a great way, you know, to lift up the work that other organizations are doing by being in our program. And there's a lot of things that come with it. You know, we have various sponsorship packets, and again, that'll all be available as well for folks to be able to view on the website and the link. Anything else you want to add about that, Cecilia?
Sponsoring is a way to support the organization and the work that we do. Part of the funds that we get, the proceeds for this event, go to creating welcome home kits. And a lot of people think when you're released from incarceration, you're coming home to a celebration, the family's throwing a big barbecue, and it's just smooth sailing from there. And that couldn't be the furthest from the truth. A lot of people come home completely alone, no family, no resources, and even basic necessities like a toothbrush, toothpaste, underwear, socks, deodorant, like just the basic things they're not given and they don't have. And so we want to welcome people home with dignity, and help them to start their journey, their reentry journey on the right foot. And so that looks like just some basic necessities to help get you started. So that's what some of the proceeds go to, and to help us provide support to folks, rides, and help them get on their feet when they're coming home from incarceration.
Yeah, because those are non-discretional funds, right? So we get to use those to help people that, you know, some of our other funding pools may not be there, but there's so many times our peer navigators, you know, are dealing with peers and they have needs that may not necessarily fit certain programming buckets. And so it's funds like that too that are, you know, we're able to tap into to make sure that, you know, folks are coming home in a way that is safe and dignified. You know, as folks that are sitting here that have all came home, we know what that can feel like to always have to ask for things. So I think the great thing about the Welcoming Home Kits that this funds is we know what folks need, and they're all right there. We don't have to ask, do you need socks? We know you need socks. We know you need teeth, right? We just ask your sizes. It's just a real quick question. We can put that together with all the other toiletries. You know, Second Chance Month was another opportunity where we got toiletries and kits again to start refurbishing our supplies. And, you know, as great as Seeds of Change is, I also want folks to remember we take donations 365 days
right.
a year.
Yeah, I was
right?
just about to
24
say that.
hours a day. Like, let's not forget.
Because you too can be a seed for change.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. You know, we all drop seeds, and others come behind us and water it, and sometimes we're the water to those seeds as well, right? And so, what do you want to give? You know, and if you don't have money to give, there's also ways to reach out. You know, we look for interns, obviously during the summer.
Volunteer that time.
Volunteers. You know, we're starting back up all of our community conversations, which, you know, used to be what they call chapter meetings. Now we're calling them community conversations. You know, that's another way to come out and get involved and come have a
Absolutely.
community conversation, learn what's going on, how you can get involved. We do so many different things, from digital literacy to community cleanups. You know, get in where you fit in. We're happy to provide lunch and water on those days where we have folks coming out. So yeah, come out, be in community, and be a part of the Nation Outside family.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you both for being fearless leaders, mentors, and friends. We couldn't do what we do organizationally without you two. We appreciate y'all. We know the community appreciates y'all, and hopefully we'll keep having more seeds to plant and be around to see them bloom and grow and impact this community like I know we've been doing. So, thank you all for coming on the podcast today.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And cut.